In the city where dreams are born and sometimes stolen, Los Angeles woke up to a stunning crime on Easter Sunday, 2024. A group of unknown thieves pulled off one of the most daring robberies in American history, making off with nearly $20 million from a vault of GardaWorld, a company trusted with safeguarding cash for major banks and businesses. It all happened so quietly that no one even realized anything was wrong, not at first. There were no alarms blaring, no shouts for help, no massive police presence rushing in. It was only later, when employees returned from the holiday break, that the full scale of the theft was uncovered, and by then, the criminals were long gone. Detective Carla Simmons of the Los Angeles Police Department later said, "It was like they vanished into thin air. Whoever did this, they knew exactly what they were doing." The heist was discovered late Sunday evening, when a GardaWorld employee reported that one of the vault doors was open. At first, they assumed it was a mistake. Maybe someone forgot to secure it before the holiday. But as they stepped inside, the horrifying truth became clear. Stacks of cash, millions of dollars worth, had simply disappeared. Not a broken lock, not a smashed door. It was as if the money had just evaporated. By Monday morning, the FBI had joined the LAPD in what would quickly become one of the most closely watched investigations in years. This wasn't just another robbery. It was a professional job, pulled off with military-level precision. Special Agent Robert Medina from the FBI's Los Angeles field office stated, "When you're talking about a haul this size, $20 million, you're not looking at amateurs. This was meticulous, calculated, cold." Questions flooded the media. How had the thieves gotten in? Where was the security? And more importantly, how had they known exactly when and where to strike? As investigators began piecing together the timeline, one thing became obvious. This heist wasn't improvised. It had been carefully, methodically planned, likely for months, maybe even longer. The first hours after discovery were pure chaos. GardaWorld executives scrambled to figure out how so much money could vanish without a single witness. The facility itself, located in a secure industrial area of Los Angeles, was supposed to be one of the most fortified cash handling centers in the region. High fences, multiple locked gates, dozens of cameras, all designed to prevent exactly this kind of thing from ever happening. But when investigators reviewed the security footage, they were stunned. At a certain point during Easter weekend, the cameras had simply stopped recording. Not blacked out, not damaged, just systematically shut down. Whoever pulled this off knew the system inside and out. Detective Carla Simmons later explained, "The way they disabled the surveillance was almost surgical. No unnecessary damage, no alarms. It's the kind of precision you usually only see in heist movies." The vault itself showed no signs of forced entry. No drills, no explosives, no crowbars. The steel doors, each weighing several tons, had been opened using the correct codes. Investigators concluded early on that this had to be an inside job, or at least that someone on the outside had inside knowledge. As agents and officers swarmed the facility, a dark realization began to settle in. This wasn't just about catching some random thieves. They were hunting professionals, people who had planned every step with chilling precision. The stolen cash was mostly in smaller denominations, packed neatly into crates and duffel bags. This made it easier to move without drawing attention. Authorities believed the thieves had brought their own containers, loaded the money quickly, and disappeared into the Los Angeles night long before anyone noticed. Meanwhile, the media caught wind of the story, and news trucks lined the street outside GardaWorld by sunrise on Monday. Reporters speculated wildly. Was it an ex-employee? Was it cartel-connected? Was it a rogue security team? Special Agent Robert Medina kept his public statements brief but chilling. When you see something this clean, you know you're up against serious players. And we know they're still out there. As the sun rose over Los Angeles, one thing was clear. The Easter Heist wasn't just a local crime. It had become national news, and the race to find the masterminds was on. In the following days, law enforcement launched one of the largest coordinated investigations in recent Los Angeles history. The FBI set up a command post just a few blocks away from the GardaWorld facility, working hand in hand with LAPD detectives, forensic teams, and cybercrime units. They pulled every employee file, ran background checks, and started the slow, painful task of reviewing months' worth of surveillance data and access logs. The first major clue came from an unexpected place. A maintenance log showed that just a week before the heist, an outside contractor had been hired to perform routine repairs on the security system. When investigators dug deeper, they found that the company listed didn't actually exist. The work order had been fabricated. Detective Carla Simmons noted, "That was our first real smoking gun. It told us this wasn't just someone who got lucky. This was planned, staged, executed with military precision." Attention quickly turned to former employees, especially those who had been terminated or left the company under questionable circumstances. GardaWorld, like many large cash handling firms, had a high turnover rate, and investigators faced a mountain of names to sort through. Meanwhile, analysts worked tirelessly to trace any movement of large amounts of cash. They flagged unusual deposits, attempted to track luxury purchases, and kept an eye on the black market, where bulk cash was sometimes sold at a discount to criminals looking to launder it. But whoever stole the money knew how to stay invisible. No flashy spending, no big mistakes. It was as if they had melted back into the shadows the moment the job was done. Special Agent Medina emphasized, "You don't steal $20 million without a plan for how to make it disappear." We were up against people who had thought about every step before, during, and after. The pressure was immense. Every day the case went unsolved. The trail grew colder. And with Los Angeles being one of the biggest, busiest cities in America, the number of places the thieves could hide was almost limitless. Still, investigators believed they were getting closer. Because while criminals can plan for a lot of things, they can never plan for everything. And all it takes is one mistake, one small slip, to bring an empire crashing down. Weeks dragged by, and the public's fascination with the Easter Heist only grew. Talk shows, crime podcasts, and news outlets all speculated endlessly about who could have pulled off such a clean getaway. Theories ranged from ex-military operatives to professional thieves flown in from overseas. Some even whisper about inside help from organized crime families operating quietly in the shadows of Los Angeles. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, the investigation was grinding forward. Investigators finally caught a break when they discovered something odd on a traffic camera 3 blocks from the GardaWorld facility. Just after midnight on Easter Sunday, a panel van, no markings, no logos, was captured rolling slowly down the street. The van's lights were off. Its windows were tinted so dark that even under the city lights, you couldn't see inside. Detective Carla Simmons described the discovery. "It wasn't the smoking gun we were praying for, but it was something. You don't cruise around an industrial park with your lights off at midnight on a holiday unless you're up to no good." The van had no plates visible, no identifying marks. It was as if it had been custom prepared for the job. Still, authorities now had a timeline to work with. They knew when the operation had likely taken place, and they began cross-referencing the van, citing with every bit of data they could get their hands on: security camera footage from nearby buildings, toll booth records, even cell phone tower pings from the surrounding area. Piece by piece, they were building a map of the thieves' movements that night. At the same time, they expanded their investigation into warehouses, private garages, and storage facilities across Los Angeles. They believed the robbers would have needed a place to stash the money, at least temporarily, before figuring out how to move or launder it. Special Agent Robert Medina pointed out, "When you have $20 million in cash, it's not like you can just throw it in the trunk and drive off. It's bulky. It's heavy. It takes real logistics." Tensions inside the task force grew. Everyone knew they were racing against the clock. The longer the money stayed hidden, the harder it would be to recover. And if the thieves managed to move the cash out of the city, or worse, out of the country, it might be lost forever. The investigators needed a miracle. And sometimes, miracles happen in the most unexpected ways. It was a small detail, almost overlooked, that finally cracked the investigation wide open. A low-level analyst at the FBI noticed something odd during a routine review of nearby businesses. A private storage facility less than 2 miles from the GardaWorld vault had reported a break-in the same weekend. Oddly enough, nothing appeared to have been stolen. But the security logs showed that one particular unit had been accessed several times late at night, far more than was typical for that location. When investigators checked the rental records, their suspicions deepened. The storage unit had been rented just a few weeks earlier under a fake name, with a cash payment up front. No ID, no credit check, nothing that could easily trace back to anyone. Special Agent Medina later said, "Criminals love cash. They think it keeps them anonymous. But when you leave a pattern, no matter how small, we're going to find it." Surveillance footage from the storage facility was grainy, but clear enough. The same panel van from the traffic camera was caught on tape, pulling into facility during the early hours of Easter morning. Two masked individuals were seen unloading large, heavy containers, presumably filled with cash, into the storage unit. Now the picture was coming together. The team secured a warrant and moved swiftly. When they opened the unit, they found not just money, but equipment: gloves, crowbars, zip ties, burner phones, and detailed maps of the GardaWorld facility were carefully stored inside, along with about $4.2 million in bundled cash. It wasn't all of the stolen money, not even close, but it was the first hard evidence they had, and proof that the thieves hadn't gotten away clean. Detective Carla Simmons reflected on the discovery. It was a gold mine. Everything they thought they'd hidden, we had right there in front of us. The maps alone were stunning, hand-drawn schematics showing security camera placements, shift changes, alarm systems. Whoever had planned this heist knew GardaWorld's operations intimately. Investigators now face a new challenge. The thieves were professional, smart, and still out there, but now the task force had a scent to follow. The hunt had moved into its most critical phase, and the walls were starting to close in. With the discovery of the storage unit, the momentum shifted sharply. Now investigators had fingerprints, DNA samples, and forensic evidence to work with. Every item found inside the unit was carefully cataloged, dusted, and analyzed. It didn't take long before they hit on a match. One partial fingerprint lifted from a burner phone linked to a known criminal, a man named Eric Monroe, a former security contractor who had once worked for a company subcontracted by GardaWorld. Monroe had been fired 2 years earlier under suspicious circumstances. At the time, no charges were filed, but there had been whispers of missing equipment and breaches of protocol. Special Agent Robert Medina explained, "It's always someone who knows the system. You can't defeat that kind of security without inside knowledge." Once Monroe was identified, surveillance teams began tracking his movements. He wasn't living a flashy life. Quite the opposite. He was keeping a low profile in a modest apartment in East Los Angeles. No big spending, no sudden trips, no obvious signs of newly acquired wealth. But investigators were patient. They watched. They listened. They waited. Then one night, Monroe made a mistake. He met with another man in the parking lot of 24-Hour Diner, and they exchanged a heavy duffel bag, a bag eerily similar to the ones used during the heist. That was all authorities needed. Within hours, FBI tactical teams moved in. Monroe and his associate, later identified as Victor Alvarez, another former GardaWorld subcontractor, were taken into custody without incident. Inside Monroe's apartment, agents found another $3 million in cash, meticulously stacked and wrapped. In Alvarez's home, they uncovered another $2 million, along with lists of laundering contacts and fake identification documents. Detective Carla Simmons summed it up. They thought they could beat the system. They almost did, but greed always leaves a trail. As the arrests were announced, the story exploded again in the national media. The FBI confirmed that while a large portion of the stolen money had been recovered, several $1 million were still unaccounted for, suspected to have been moved offshore or hidden by other conspirators who remained at large. Both Monroe and Alvarez now face a long list of federal charges, including conspiracy, grand larceny, and interstate transport of stolen property. If convicted, they could each spend decades behind bars. Yet, even as the legal proceedings unfold, one lingering mystery remains. Were Monroe and Alvarez the true masterminds behind the Easter Heist? Or were they just the frontline soldiers for someone even bigger, someone still in the shadows? Special Agent Medina left the public with a chilling reminder. In cases like these, It's never just two guys. It's a network, and we're not done yet. In the end, the Easter Heist of 2024 stands as one of the most breathtaking, meticulously executed, and deeply unsettling robberies in modern American history. A crime that revealed just how fragile even our most trusted institutions can be when faced with patience, precision, and ambition without limits. And somewhere out there, parts of that fortune may still be hidden, waiting for someone reckless enough to try to claim it.